Hi there, it's Mike with Landscrapers True Pool Company, and we're here today at a spa pool to kind of walk you through how all of your spa pool equipment works. Understanding that you have really one body of water that's split into two zones, that's accomplished through a bunch of valving and can get confusing, so we're just going to take the confusion out of it and help you understand how this whole thing works so you can use your spa. Whether you have a ground level spa or whether you have an elevated spa, they're going to work slightly different but pretty much the same. So let's talk about the first two basics of any pool system, and that is that every pool system is going to have a suction or an inlet and a return or an outlet. Okay? When you have a spa pool, we have the ability to either draw from the pool or to draw from the spa through what we call main drains, which we'll take a look at in a second. This valve here, commonly called a Jandy valve, which is just a generic term, but a three-way diverter valve, this is designed to make the selection of where we're drawing water from. Obviously, wherever we pull it from, that's the part that's going to be drawing, whether we want to be skimming the pool or if we just want to keep it contained in the spa, which we'll go over in a second. These are real simple to operate. You'll see on it, it's written closed at this area here with the arrow opposite the handle. So whichever arrow this is, or whichever pipe this is facing, that's the one that's closed. Now when we do our pools, and I'm going to mark this as well, I think our stickers have blown off here in the last week, but we always put all of our spa related stuff on the inside, all of our pool stuff on the outside. So in this case here, if I want to be skimming the pool, which is what we're going to want to be doing 9 times out of 10, if we're not using the spa, you want to be running your skimmer, because the spa is going to send everything that it gets on top water over to the pool, and then the pool can draw it into the basket. So we always want to be running the skimmer unless we're in the spa. But if we do want to switch it, it's as easy as just unscrewing this, which is a child safety latch, because we all know kids are running around here playing with diverter valves. We're going to just turn it, and now it's that easy. Now it's drawing from the spa, and we have our closed arrow towards the skimmer. So now we're using main drains from the spa. I'm going to turn this back here. It's important on a single body, 2-zone pool that you understand our spas are enclosed. They do spill over. But if we draw all the water to the spa and we return it to the pool and we don't return anything to the spa is eventually going to drain down to nothing. So we have to refeed. So people will be like, oh, well, I want to find that sweet spot right between my skimmer and my main drains. There's no such thing. It's almost impossible. So that's why I tell you, we're always going to feed some water to the spa so that it's spilling over, and that we always want to keep top surface water going over so it can get to the skimmer, anything that gathers. But at the same time, we also still want to keep pool returns running. And again, we're going to get into that a little bit more when we walk over to it. But that's how we would switch that. The returns are the same thing. Obviously, if we want to close off our spa, then all of our water return is going to be sent to pool only, which means the spa, if it's spilling over, will stop spilling over. Equally, we can turn it over here and shut off everything to do with our pool and only have it feeding the spa. It's never a good idea, again, unless you're using the spa, it's never a good idea to send it all to one body or the other. We want that filtration, that chlorination, and everything to be happening through the entire system. So I usually tell people, especially if you have a spillover, you know, I like to turn it so that I've got most of my water coming from the spa. I get the beautiful waterfall effect of the spillover, but I also have a little bit going through the pool as well to chase that stuff on top into the skimmer. The last valve that you're going to see, they're all three-way diverter valves. They all work the same thing, but if you have a spa, you're going to have a heater of some sort, a heat pump, a heater, whatever it is. We install bypass valves on every single one of our pools so that the heater can be separated out from the rest. This happens when, for example, you may need to work on the heater, or sometimes if a heater fails. You can pull it out, you still want to be able to use your system. So this is designed in such a way that if we're closing off our direct return, then that means we're sending water through our heater to get into our return system, or the other way. If we want to shut the thing off, that will turn our whole heater system flow off, and we're able to remove the heater or do whatever we want. That's why that third one is there. Now, point on heaters, since we're talking about them, always leave your water running through your heater. It doesn't really matter whether or not you're going to heat right now, but especially when we have these North Texas cold snaps. If water's not going through these guys, they're the first things to go. I mean, they are. And especially heat pumps, immediately those things will crack. So it's important that we don't ever have stagnant water going through this. And again, remember, stagnant water is never good for our system anyway. We always want flow, filtration, chlorination. We always want that to be happening. But everything on your system, let's just talk about this for a second, is also designed with quick disconnects, which means that every single thing on this can literally be pulled right off, changed, put right back together without changing any of our plumbing, which is great. If for some reason, whether it's the filter or the pump or any of these, you'll see they're all different colored, but basically all the same collars that are on these things. Occasionally, you can sometimes have a leak. The idea that every man like me thinks is, where's the biggest pair of channel locks that I can ream down on that thing? Please resist that urge. These things are all plastic and they will snap off, and if they snap off, they're molded into whatever you have, and you're going to have to buy something new to get that back together. So these are all designed to be hand tightened only. If you have a problem, even a grain of sand in these systems between the washers can cause a leak or a drip. If you're having a drip and you can't get it done by hand tightening it, turn the system off, take it apart, check that washer, blow it out, clean it out, put it back together. Please don't use heavy tools on this. You'll trash your stuff. So that I just wanted to point out while we were here. This blower here we're going to talk about here in a second, but if you have a spa, you're going to have a blower. If you have therapy jets, you're going to have a blower. And we're going to talk in a second why there's a valve here and everything else. But let's walk over to our actual pool and spa combo and talk about this. So in this case here, this is what I would basically say is kind of the way I personally would standardly run it. You can do whatever you want, feel free. But this here in our elevated spa position, this gives just kind of a great aesthetics to it. We've got flow coming out of the spa. We've got the nice waterfall. We also have flow going to the pool. We have chased everything, and we always do. We always turn, and every one of these eyeballs are adjustable. You can take your finger and put them in there and turn them whatever direction. I try to put just enough top flow, and I aim everything towards the skimmer. Again, like we said over there, it's really important to just make sure that you always have a flow going to the skimmer. That way, there's a lot less netting that you have to do, cleaning everything out. But coming over to our spa here, when it's time to actually use our spa, there's a couple points of interest here. So the spa has two large, they look like speakers in the inside at the bottom. Those are what you call your main drains. Those provide suction for that spa, and that's what we have the switch over there for on the inlet side of the pump. When we use our spa, that's the time that we want to separate these two zones. So in other words, we want all of our suction and all of our return going to our spa, especially if you have a heater, because you want to contain that heat within the spa. If we're spilling over or if we're sending return water back, we're heating the pool at the same time. So you may want the therapy of the spa on a hot day, but you don't, your kids are screaming and yelling because the pool's heating up. But in this situation here, again, like I said, that's the purpose of them, so that we can zone off this water. And when we get the party together and it's time to sit back and relax, that's the time that we want to turn everything over there so that we've separated the spa out. We're sucking from the main drains, we're returning to the spa only. There are 2 or 3 hours that you're playing in that spa is not going to damage the chemistry of your pool. When you're all done with it, just go back to the way that it was before, set it back on the skimmer, and let there be a little bit of flow over here to keep chasing water. That's how we're going to separate those two zones. Now, when we come over here, what we're going to do, you'll see all of these little guys here are your jets, and these jets, you can also take a finger and just literally move that jet in any direction you want. When we install our jets, we install them staggered up and down so that you can get different points of therapy on your back, but you can also fine-tune those by just moving the jet wherever you want. The jets also can be turned on or off. The collar here, if you turn it clockwise about a quarter turn, will shut it off. If you turn it counterclockwise, it'll open it back up. Now, a word to those who like to see just how intense things can get. please don't shut off all but one of your therapy jets. What's going to happen, there is some small plumbing inside there. If you crank everything up and try to blast it all through one, you're asking a lot of all those fittings, and it's just, you know, I tell people try not to shut more than half of them off at the same time. In most cases, it's just not an issue unless it's bothering you for one reason or another. But anyways, those can be turned on and off. They can be adjusted. So let's turn our spa on here and see what this thing can do. We're going to come back over. We're going to separate our zone out, and we're going to make everything activate as a spa now. We're going to do all our drawing from the spa. We're going to do all of our return to the spa. Now we have all the, we've literally separated that zone out. It's going to stop spilling over, and it's just going to literally be recirculating itself. If we have a heater on, all the water is just recirculating into that particular place. Here's your blower. So your blower comes with a valve on. A lot of people ask me what this is for. The power is so strong through this pump that when you open this, you'll actually hear a siphon come through here. It's not real loud, but if you're next to it, you can hear it. It allows air bubbles to come into it even without the blower on. And some people just don't like that. If they don't have their blower on, they don't want to see one air bubble in the spa. So we started installing these valves that basically just shuts off any air from being able to get in there. But when it's time to use our blower, of course, please make sure it's open, because otherwise there's no way for this air to get through, and it'll eventually kick this thing off because it'll overheat. So we're going to open that up, and then we're going to, in this case, in Nicole's case, she's actually smartly figured out how to get her blower switch right over to her door so she doesn't have to walk over. Then we're going to kick our blower on, and now we get our spa action. Again, once we're in this spa here, I mean, we can fine tune this however we want, and the more we decide to shut one off, it's just going to send more to the others. So then you just get to grab yourself a cold beer and relax. But yeah, all of these things are set up in such a way that it's really easy to use. Some water's going to spill over, don't worry. You're never going to really lower this water out, other than the people that get in will eventually equalize this, and then when you set your system back up again, it'll just refill and start spilling back over again. But this is the cool thing, man. This is when you get to enjoy and relax. But that's essentially how your spa system works. So when it's time to shut it down and you're all done with everything, let's just go over this one more time. I'm a systems guy, so I try to get myself to do the same thing every time. And the first thing I do, does not fall. The first thing I do, turn my blower off. Close my blower valve. Turn myself back onto skimmer, and then send a little bit to the pool. We're done. Now it's ready to be a pool again. People do ask me, is there any time I should completely shut my spa off? And I say no. There's never a time you should completely. Again, I'm a huge fan of filtration, chlorination. Let's keep the water moving, all of that stuff. So if for some reason you want more flow to the pool or whatever, I'm not going to tell you can't use your valves. That's what they're there for. But in most cases, I like to keep some sort of a flow going over. If the waterfall, if you got the pool loaded and the waterfall's bugging, somebody sure shut it off. Just try to turn it back on again so that you can keep that flow going. But anyways, that's how you use your spa. And again, ground level or elevated, it's going to work on the same principles. They're really easy to run. If you have any questions, please let us know. But thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.